What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. People, in today's video, we're going to discuss the issue of primary school kids' portable discs that they have to carry home and back to school every single day. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. What do you guys think about this? Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Hello. Phew, man. People, South Africa is a movie. When I say South Africa is a movie, trust you me, I tell you, every single day there is a story or an event or an activity or a rumor or some sort of thing that just gets the nation talking. I mean, our school kids, especially primary school kids, right? I mean, they just want to they just want to learn. They just want to play. They just want to be comfortable. They just want to be in safe spaces. They don't want to labor. I mean, and our schools are facing great big challenges. Some schools don't even have classrooms. Some schools are still being conducted outside under trees. And it's 2025. Is that acceptable? And then, I mean, how much do containers cost? Are you telling me in a government's budget of $1 trillion, they can't find a budget for containers to give to the rural schools that don't have classrooms? Okay, let's say containers are too expensive or mobile classrooms are too expensive. How about they build windy houses for the school kids so at least they can get into a structure other than learning under trees? Because now when it's raining, then there's no school, right? It cannot be school because under trees. Okay. So let's think of the cheapest alternative. But let there be that our school kids get to go into some form of classrooms and that the teachers can teach in some sort of classroom. I don't care if it's corrugated iron, I don't care if it's wooden, I don't care if it's metal, I don't care if it's glass, I don't care if it's made of thatch, if it's grass, I don't care. Build, make, mold something. That's all I'm asking, right? That's for the rural schools. And the government has failed. 30 years of business, they've managed to upgrade their cars, upgrade their salaries, upgrade their houses, upgrade their children's education, upgrade the medical aids, but they failed to provide classrooms, basic classrooms for rural schools, right? That's what I'm going to say on that one. That's what I'm going to say on that rural issue. Let's come now to modern, let's come now to the urban centers, to the poor schools that have no desks, have classrooms but no desks. Okay, so the department got no money because the department is broke. Okay, how is the department broke? Because of corruption and they stole the money. Good. How much do ministers earn? How much do cleaners earn? How about we kept those salaries? How about we cut those salaries and then we can get money for desks? Yeah? Don't you think so? I would think so. I mean, that would be the logical step to do, wouldn't you think? I mean, why are we paying people inflated salaries when children have no desks? Why are we paying people inflated salaries when the classrooms have no windows? Right? All right. That's another issue. Now, the children with no desks. So, this is a very contentious issue because people are divided on saying now that companies like McDonald's have provided branded, mobile, desk, chair, and I think it's a bag, or it's just a chair and a bag, a desk and a bag for the kids, right? It's mind blowing that, and let's let's give let's give credit to McDonald's for coming up with a solution, right? Of giving the kids these mobile desks that they have to wheel home and to school, so back and forth between home and school. And apparently, these things weigh about 2 kilograms, right? So we have these 5-year olds, 6-year, 7-year olds dragging these like wheelie bags, where it's actually a desk and a chair that's actually fitted and molded into one, so it's foldable, right? And they have to wheel it home and to school. They have to take it on a bus, they have to take it on a taxi, they have to take it however they travel, right? The idea behind providing desks and chairs for the kids is a noble idea. It's a grand idea. We commend companies like McDonald's and whoever else is providing these mobile chain desks for the kids. There's another company that's actually doing a backpack as well. So there's a backpack and a desk, is it? Backpack, desk, and a chair all in one. So my thinking and my logic is it's a cool idea. The provision of chairs and desks. I like that part. The part I don't like is that it's branded, right? And these kids got to walk up and down with it, go home with it, go to school with it, got to get home with it, up and down the streets with it. If McDonald's is making billions, or even let's just say hundreds of millions a month or a year in South Africa alone, why couldn't they just buy a container or two, put it in the yard, in the school grounds, put it on in the schoolyard, put the containers where they can keep these mobile desks and chairs. When the kids come, they can just go to the container and just wheel them out. I mean, obviously, the adults are going to have to open the containers because kids are not as strong enough to open the containers because we're talking about 7-year-old, 8-year-old. So, well, the idea of providing chairs and desks is a noble idea, right? It beats not having chairs and desks. But the idea of them having to wheel these things to and fro, home and back to school, home and back to school every single day. For those that are using public transport, you've got to put it on this public transport. For those that are walking 200 miles to the house, you've got to wheel this thing on top of whatever other books that they're carrying. Then you've got to still wheel this desk and chair. Now, for me, I feel like it's totally unfair to the kids. It's a brilliant marketing, advertising idea for McDonald's and companies that are providing these branded chairs, wheelie chairs and desks. It's a brilliant concept for marketing, and these are basically moving billboards for you. It's free of charge. I mean, you're not you're not paying these kids anything for holding up your branded signage and walking through all the neighborhoods that everyone gets to see. Oh, McDonald's, McDonald's. I mean, shouldn't there be some form of compensation for these mobile advertising billboards? I mean, I would think that at the time when we were going to school and the generations before us, when they were going to school, the least of your problems or your worries was having to carry school furniture around. branded school furniture know-how. I mean, why would why would a company the size of McDonald's not buy desks and chairs for classrooms? I mean, they have the money, they have the budget. We know that for a fact, but they won't do that. They would rather spend millions on advertising, right, than to spend hundreds of thousands on desks and chairs. And you see, these desks and chairs, these kids are carrying are made of plastic, and I would assume that a wooden desk and chair would have come at a much cheaper cost, if I'm not mistaken, unless you're telling me that the plastic that they're using is cheaper than the wood that most schools use for desks. So if it's cheaper, then why doesn't the Department of Education replace all the wooden desks with plastic ones? Plastic desks and plastic chairs. I mean, it's just that simple, right? I mean, people, it gets to a point where, if need be, the department the department has to now borrow money from McDonald's or whichever other corporation to buy plastic desks and chairs that are not movable, that stay within the classroom. Can you imagine having a 7, 8 year old carrying a satchel, a backpack, and it's got all their books in it because they study, like, I don't know, 6, 7 subjects a day. They carry every time they carry these heavy books for their ages, bags, right? Then they've got to wheel the desk and chair. Can you imagine that? Now, like I said to you, the idea and the intent to help out with this crisis is a very noble idea, very good. But the minute that these kids have to now turn into walking billboards for this branded affordable desk and chair, it's just not on. It's really not on. I mean, the last thing kids want to do is manual labor. And them carrying that thing. I mean, I don't know of any kid that feels happy going to carry groceries. And so, yeah, you make them carry a wheelie thingy. They have to wheel this thing up and down. Okay, what if the schools that these things are being given, because we're just looking at it as a normal terrain, a normal road. What if these things are on hilly, muddy? Are these kids now going to be using extra strength to pull these things up out of the mud, pull this thing? Was all that taken into consideration, or is it just, well, as long as it's branded, they need chairs, we just give them whatever we can? Was that the thinking behind it? Because at the end of the day, it's not your child. So you wouldn't care if this child has to drag this thing up a mountain or over a hilltop, right? Or drag this thing through a stream or through a river, right? It's not your child. I mean, why would you? I don't know of any parent that will allow their child to actually wheel a desk and a chair on top of carrying their bags to school. I mean, at 7, at 8. I mean, there's no parent, logically speaking, no parent would ever do that. I mean, if that was the most logical thing to do, don't you think our forefathers would have invented this type of carrying desk and chair to school every single day? Wouldn't you think that would have been the solution way back already before them bringing this wheelie thing up now? I mean, even if it wasn't a wheelie thing back then, just for you to be carrying a light desk and a light chair on your way to school and back, don't you think that would have been the solution back in the day already? Was that not the solution? Or was that never ever an option? So if it wasn't an option then to carry your school furniture to your house and back to school, then back to your house, and why is that the solution today? If it never was ever a solution before, and no one ever thought about carrying your blackboards and carrying your whatever um, science equipment home and back to school again and carrying all your, really, are we becoming corporate slaves now? Are we now bowing down to our schools becoming advertising boards and grounds for corporations now? Are the schools being compensated for this? Are the kids being compensated for this? Because at the end of the day, trust you me, these kids are going to be going into spaces and places where there's no McDonald's signage. And people that had forgotten or don't really think what a McDonald's is, those that don't even know what McDonald's is, are going to now know, oh, wow, McDonald's, what is it? It's nothing to say that there aren't people who don't know McDonald's. It's just that there's a time where people even forget there's a McDonald's, and then you see the sign like, oh yeah, McDonald's. Oh yeah, McDonald's. Oh yeah, McDonald's. Hey, when I get mine, let me get McDonald's. Because now I just see the sign and I have to remember McDonald's. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a good and there's a positive and there's a bad and there's a con to this, right? So for me, I am not against the fact that they could have given them stationary, um, immovable discs and chairs. A simple wooden disc and a plastic chair, or a wooden disc and a steel chair, or a wooden disc and a wooden chair. Would have made a difference. I mean, schools were always equipped with wooden desks and metal chairs, was it? Was it wooden chairs? Either way. So this whole new concept of plastic is more than welcome. Does it have to be branded? No. Does it have to be carried to and fro from home, from school to home, from home to school? What if some of these kids live in a shack, no one-room shack at that, and there's already tight space? Where are you going to put this thing now? Have you thought about that? No. I feel like there wasn't much thought put into this other than moving billboards. That was the main thing behind this. But hey, I'm not sure if this is a solution, but I know it does solve a problem. But at the same time, I also know that it's already it is going to add to a problem as well, you know, because there's just too many things to consider other than just, well, we're solving the problem of teaching kids at school, because you have to look at the outside factors as well, outside of the school, while moving this thing. So, yeah, next we're going to get into the pros of having these movable discs and chairs. You know how we do, right? Hello. People, as South Africans, they say we complain a lot. They say we don't know what we want. And they say we don't know what we like. And then we don't know what we don't like. They're saying there's no discs. People make a plan for discs. We complain. People don't make a plan for discs. We complain. No discs. We complain. Then discs come. We complain. So what is it South Africa really wants? Okay. All South Africans want is the basic functions, the basic tools, the basic furniture, and the basic needs of what a school requires in order to function effectively. All schools need is a roof, is a window, is doors, is flooring, desks, chairs, boards, chalk. That's the basic foundation of a classroom, right? Those are the basic things. A lot of schools are moving away. Well, in the modern schools, they're moving away from the traditional chalk and blackboard method, right? They're moving to the more digital screens and laptops and pads and stuff, right? And tablets, right? If a basic thing like a disk has to be carried to and fro, what are the implications of theft, for example? Let's just say kids live in a dangerous zone and then you get these unruly thugs and whatever the case may be. And they just say, well, they see, well, this thing is good. He's going to take it for himself. And he likes it. He can take it for his child or whatever the case may be. And he robs the kid of the desk and chair. Who's going to pay for it? The parents? Are the McDonald's going to replace it? Does the school have to pay for it? Or is the school just going to replace another one and another one? And da, 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 da? Does it go on like that? You see, there's so many positives and good to this thing because now we're getting free discs. We're getting free chairs because we never had them. So now we've got them. What else are we getting? We're getting free advertising from a corporation. We're getting free exposure from a corporation. The Department of Education is getting help from a corporation. So, yeah, those are the positives. You know, those are the positives that I can think of from having no disc to having these branded mobile disc and chair. I mean, why would you complain? You didn't have a disc before. Now you got a disc. Problem solved, right? See, that's the pro. Holla. People, the cons of having kids carrying portable, movable, foldable disc and chairs is that it's just it's just not it's not conducive for the age group, for the terrain, for the environments where they come from. Because most of these suffering schools, remember, these are in townships. These are in high density suburbs or areas where it could be dangerous for these kids to be carrying these movable, portable desk and chairs, right? I always look at it in a case of firstly the children having to navigate in the roads or the treacherous terrain where some of them live. Some of them, their houses are not situated on a tarmac, on the side of a tarmac. You know, you have to go into these dusty, stony roads. You know what I mean? They've got to pull and add more extra energy just to wheel this thing around. You know what I mean? Especially if it's rocky where they live, because some of these shacks are just built on uneven ground, so to speak. You know what I mean? Okay, what if it's raining and what there's water puddles? So what if these kids have to jump over with these bags? I mean, they're barely getting. I mean, their school bags are heavy as it is, and now you've got this extra 2 kg thing. How do they navigate this thing through puddles, over puddles? Do they wade with them? You know what I mean? It's not like I'm looking for problems, but I'm trying to find. Or you try when you're trying to solve a problem, right? You try to look at it from all possible angles, right? You don't just solve a problem just because you never had it, now you got it, problem solved, right? Because then you got to look at the other implications as to how this thing gets moved. When does it get moved? Is it doable? Is it feasible? Can every child carry 2 kgs or wheel 2 kgs? Is every child having the energy to hold? Because if you look over distance, how far are some of these kids walking to the schools? Because granted, I mean, for an adult, a watermelon is not heavy per se, right? A watermelon, because it's round in nature, right? And it's almost, what's the shape of a watermelon? It's not round, right? It's like oblongish, roundish. It's a watermelon is just over distance. A watermelon is awkward to carry. It doesn't have sides. It doesn't have a handle. A watermelon is just awkward to carry. It's not heavy. But over distance, because of the awkwardness, it becomes heavy, difficult to carry. Now this one got wheels. You will it. I totally get it. But as a child, you only have so much energy to expend, right? To expend, all right? So if you go to walk, let's just say what, 2Ks, 5Ks, that wheelie thing then becomes heavy because you are now wheeling this thing over rocks, roads, through a ditch, over potholes, over this thing. So all these things, it will add to your energy in your arm. I mean, your arm is definitely going to become tired at some point. Do they take that into consideration? So theft, like I was saying previously, there's the risk of it being stolen or them being robbed of it. You know what I mean? There's all weird things that go on in these township schools or weird things go on in these townships. You understand what I'm saying? Was all that taken into consideration? So before we celebrate the desk and chairs that are solving a much uh, excruciating problem for schools and teachers, let us be cognizant of the practicality of having this mobile, foldable, movable desk and chair being wheeled back and forth between school and home. And let's look at the dangers in between school and home and how these children could become targets because they're wheeling this thing that someone else, an undesirable, would see that as a benefit for either himself or his household. Do you see what I'm saying? Another thing is storage. Do all these parents have enough space to store an extra thing in their small little shack? I mean, most people live in a one room shack. Most people they come from this poverty stricken township school, right? They live in shacks, right? Some of the shacks are not big enough. Some of the shacks are already having a bed it's already full. So I mean, it's not like okay, it's not a very big thing, but sure. I mean, if they're not even buying anything to add to the household because there's just no space, here comes this 2 kilogram thingy discount. So now they've got to accommodate that too. You know what I'm saying? Another negative. So yeah, for me, like I said, there's a good and a bad side to it. You know, yes, it does solve a problem, and two, it actually does create another set of problems as well, or challenges for the kids and maybe as for the household as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Was I on the money, or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we are family, right? Holla.